Hi, it's Alaska Granny. Are you wondering what kind of food should you add to your prepper pantry right now? What kind of food should you buy this month? And how are you going to use some of those foods? If you've been into prepping and stockpiling food storage for any amount of time, you likely have a lot of basic foods. And remember that not all foods will last forever, so you should be stocking up on foods that you use. Then you should be rotating them and replacing them. And if you see something new that you think you'd like to try, go ahead and get one and take it home and try it. And if you like it, that's when you stock up on it. Don't stock up on a food that you haven't tried unless you know for sure how you're going to use it and if you're going to enjoy it, because we don't want to waste our precious dollars on foods that it turns out nobody cares to eat. Well, I was looking over my food storage stockpile and trying to add in a little variety, also to look where are there any gaps, because I do try to rotate my food and use some of those foods. And sometimes we find that we're using a bunch of something, we didn't even realize that that particular item was getting low, or we just want to add variety because maybe some of the foods that we have are a little bit on the boring side. So here are my suggestions on foods you might want to stockpile to add to your prepper pantry and your food storage stockpile. The first category that I chose to add into my food storage stockpile was canned goods. I started off picking up a few cans of broth and gravy. These are great starters if you want to make soups and stews or pour over leftovers and make it be a little juicier, more flavorful. Add a little contrast and difference to the meals that you already have on hand and some of the things that you have left over. The next category of canned foods that I stockpiled were canned tomatoes. I chose some diced tomatoes, and then I also chose some rotel, which are spicy Mexican style, and they have things like jalapenos, peppers, and onions in them. I have a lot of canned beans on hand, but I thought it was a good idea to add some variety into the cans of beans. So it's not just pinto beans, black beans, white beans, whatever. These are also ways to add variety into the dishes that you normally make with beans. You can add a variety to change up that flavor, make your meal more interesting, and you never know when you might discover something that becomes your new favorite. Next, I added some powdered milk. I like the Nido Fortificata powdered milk. You can find it on the Hispanic aisle. It's a whole milk. It's very flavorful. I enjoy using it. It tastes like real milk, and I'm not a fan of non-fat dry milk. The benefit of the non-fat dry milk is it can last for up to 30 years. The Nido Fortificata needs to be rotated. It can last for a few years, but it's not going to last as long as non-fat dry milk. I also stocked up on some of the shelf-stable milk. It's UHT, or ultra high temperature pasteurized, so that it can last in the pantry in the cardboard type container for a long time. I've kept these in the refrigerator unopened, and they've been good far past the date on the box. I'm never afraid to go ahead and inspect something if it's out of date. I never throw it away simply because it is out of date, and you shouldn't either. You can look over the container, see if it still looks fresh, good, safe, nothing is leaking, bulging. Open it up, does it smell okay? Pour it out. Is it lumpy? Does it have the right consistency? And you can figure out if your milk has lasted or not. I've not had any of the UHT milk go bad, and so I'm a huge fan of it. I don't use milk all the time, but when I use it, I want something that's fresh and good, and this has come to the rescue. Next, I wanted to add some dry foods into my long-term storage. You can have rice, quinoa, oatmeal, pasta, even popcorn can last a long, long time. These are foods that you can buy in a bag, 1 pound, 2 pounds, sometimes up to 25 pounds. And you can store these away in an airtight container, and then you'll have them to last for the longest term. But you can also use them. You don't have to put them away forever. You can utilize these foods in your regular cooking. So that's one reason that I like to store them in clean canning jars. They're a nice size to have in the pantry. It's an easy size to rotate. I don't want everything in a 5-gallon bucket, so that if I want some rice beans, pasta, oatmeal, whatever, I don't want to have to open a gigantic packet because I don't have a large family anymore. So storing foods in sizes that you can rotate, use up in a reasonable amount of time makes sense. I also picked up some yellow split peas for a little variety. Split pea soup is so easy to make. It doesn't always have to be green. You can use yellow split peas. I have a very simple recipe of how I make split pea soup in my crock pot, and I'll put a link to that video in case you're interested on how to make easy split pea soup. Winter weather is here. Maybe you want to pick up some soup mixes. The Bear Creek soups are very delicious. They only cost a few dollars. They come in a variety of flavors. You add 8 cups of water, simmer it for 20 minutes, and you have a nice big hearty meal. You can serve a big group, or you have some leftovers for a while. I made a video before on some different stir-ins that you can add to these to make them bigger, better, heartier meals. I'll put a link to that video in case you're interested in how to make a nice big meal out of the Bear Creek soup mixes. Next, think about your hot beverages that you enjoy on a cold winter's night. I buy extra tea bags and I seal them into a clean canning jar. I vacuum seal the lid. That's all you need to do, and they last for several years. Even if you can't vacuum seal your tea bags, getting a tight-fitting lid and storing them away in a cool, dark, dry environment can help them last for quite a few number of years. Not a tea drinker, maybe you like coffee. You can find some vacuum packed coffee. The longest lasting coffee is the freeze dried, so I also have chosen some little of the single serve. You can buy instant coffee in a jar, or you can buy the little single serves and you can pop them into your purse, into your gym bag, take them with you in your bug out bag, have a few in your car, or even in your suitcase, so that you can have the beverages that you want in a format that's easy to use and longer lasting. I rounded off the prepping I did this week with some condiments. I bought some peanut butter, some jelly, barbecue sauce, pickle relish, and some green salsa. These are common foods that I use, so it's always nice to have an additional one on hand. Let us know in the comments below, what prepping have you done this week? What foods are you adding to your storage stockpile, your pantry? And are you remembering to use, rotate, and replace these foods so that you can continue to make meals for your family no matter what the day brings? I hope you'll like my video, share it. Please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.